You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
Korea's semiconductor supercycle is at its peak, and the government is already planning for the crash. If you're targeting Korea's tech industry for your career, today's news reframes the timeline you should be thinking about. 3 signals. 1. Korea's Q1 2026 GDP grew 1.8% quarter-on-quarter, nearly double the Bank of Korea's February forecast, almost entirely driven by the memory semiconductor boom. 2. The government has commissioned KIAT, the Korea Institute for Advancement of Technology, to design a medium to long-term strategy to reduce Korea's economic dependence on memory chips. 3. The GEO market, generative engine optimization, the skill set replacing traditional SEO, is projected to grow from $886 million in 2024 to $7.3 billion by 2031 at 34% annual growth. It's Thursday, June 11th. Let's look at what this means for job seekers and graduates in Korea. Korea's current semiconductor boom is exceptional by historical standards. The previous down cycle, from mid-2022 to late 2023, saw chip exports fall for 15 consecutive months, dragging overall exports down for 12 months and industrial output down for another 12. In Q4 2022, Korea's GDP contracted 0.4% quarter-on-quarter. Corporate tax revenue fell 23% in 2020 following the 2019 chip downturn. The government's concern is structural. Korea's fabless chip design sector, companies that design chips without manufacturing them, accounts for less than 1% of the global market. That is the talent and innovation gap the next strategy is meant to close. Here's what the numbers show. The government's current semiconductor supercycle thesis projects the memory upcycle continuing for at least 1 to 2 more years, driven by AI demand and data center investment. Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix are both extending long-term supply agreements with major AI customers from 1 year to 3 to 5 year contracts. SK Hynix signed a multi-year technology partnership with NVIDIA during CEO Jensen Huang's recent Seoul visit, covering next-generation memory development and supply for NVIDIA's AI chip and AI factory programs. Samsung Electromechanics, a supplier of high-layer, high-density circuit boards for AI servers, saw its share price rise over 600% year-to-date before recent market turbulence. That kind of appreciation reflects the premium Korea's capital markets are placing on AI infrastructure supply chain companies right now. In parallel, digital search infrastructure is undergoing a structural shift. ChatGPT's share of the global search market has risen from single digits in late 2024 to 17.6% as of April 2026. Google's share is 77.9%. The gap is closing. Naver, Korea's dominant search platform, is investing 100 billion won, approximately $65 million over 3 years in data licensing partnerships to improve AI search accuracy. The GEO skill set, building brand presence inside AI answer engines rather than traditional search results, is becoming a new professional category. Over half of U.S. marketing executives in a recent survey are reallocating budgets away from SEO toward GEO strategies. So what does this mean for graduates and job seekers targeting Korea? Earlier, we flagged that Korea's fabless chip design sector is below 1% of global market share, and the government is now treating that gap as a national priority with dedicated funding. That is a directional signal for where hiring demand will grow over the next 3 to 5 years. Chip design, advanced packaging, system semiconductor engineering, and AI-adjacent roles in data infrastructure. The caveat is that the memory supercycle will eventually turn, as it always has, and Korea's labor market will feel that turn acutely, particularly in sectors with heavy semiconductor supply chain exposure. Diversification into non-memory roles now, while hiring conditions are favorable, provides more career resilience than concentrating entirely in memory-adjacent positions. What to watch? 1. KIAT's Semiconductor Industry Strategy Report, expected later this year, which will identify the specific subsectors and roles the government plans to invest in, and where public-private hiring partnerships are likely to follow. 2. Naver's AI search data partnership announcements, particularly in finance and healthcare. These will signal where Korea's tech platforms are building expert content teams. 3. Samsung and SK Hynix's Q2 earnings guidance due in July, which will indicate whether the supercycle is sustaining or beginning to plateau. That's today's AI Prism Careers Edition. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a Juan Ifra award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.